It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
That's right. Welcome to Blacklisted Radio. It's the 7th day of August, 2016. My name is Doug Owen, alongside Mr. Craig Simpson. You can find him on Twitter at ProducerCraig33. And we have a lot of stuff to do. You can go to our website, blacklistedradio.com. We have an interactive chat room. Art's there hanging out in the bathtub, listening to the show. You can find some eclectic and very unique individuals hanging out there during the live broadcast that you can find every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time from the mothership. Ken is running it at Republic Broadcasting. You can call into the show and talk to Ken. 800-313-9443 is the number to do so. And Craig, you've made it back from a little vacationing this week. I'm sure you had a pretty good time. Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. So went to Sedona and just did the Sedona stuff, basically. It's a beautiful place. So there's a area called Oak Creek just north of it where you can get really nice kind of resort hotel rooms that have balconies over this creek, and they're down in this little valley in this creek, so it's actually cool down there. You can watch the water go by. You can go hiking. You can walk around the vortexes, which is kind of fun. I mean, whether you believe in vortexes or not, the hiking in the area is incredible. And Sedona is nice because it's Sedona, Arizona, that is, because it really hasn't built up. It stayed the same for years and years, and a lot of really nice restaurants. Whether you're like a raw food vegan or a paleo meat eater, or anything in between, there's food for you there. So it's a great, actually, no, people, it sucks. Don't go there. Don't. It's such a dumb.
You don't want to be there.
Yeah. Don't go. It's horrible. Yeah.
So it sounds like a soft rewilding. You're trying to rewild. I know we're probably going to talk about your new project. And, of course, for new listeners, Craig is the producer. He was the producer for the podcast that I did with Charlie McGrath called The Doomcast. And we decided to bring, Craig along for our adventure here. And we're going to be bringing more guests. And it affords me a little bit more time. And, I like to rewild as well, so I'm definitely personally interested in a lot of the same kind of hobbies and ambitions as Craig, and I know a lot of you out there are as well. People trying to just live I hate the term sustainable life, but getting back to your roots a little bit, not being just taking a step, I guess, away from the inundation of technology and kind of smelling the flowers, smelling the roses every once in a while. So you had a good time, man, huh?
I certainly did. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. I mean, and rewilding, that's something that I'm definitely into. A lot of that comes from the work of Daniel Vitalis and others that are somewhat prominent. But really, the whole paleo eating idea is rewilding. Here's a great way to, if you want to rewild, here's one. Just wear shoes less. It's odd. There's so many little things, and it's quite an adventure. But if you see the Vibram 5 toes, they look really odd.
They do.
But they do, and I don't like them because they look strange. But you know what? If you get a pair and just start wearing them around, when you're not too embarrassed, you might realize that you've forgotten your feet. You don't use them. You don't know.
I'm losing Craig over here a little bit. I'm listening to digits.
Will enliven your... Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like you... Yeah?
No. I'm just saying you're kind of cutting out on my end. I might have to re-peer this Skype conversation. You might sound great to everybody else out there, but it's just the way it's peering back to me. Technology and having all of these things streaming sometimes does that kind of stuff. But anyway, yeah, the Vibrams, I haven't tried them because I have size 14 feet and I'd have to, get them custom from Zappos or some other place. But they do look cool. And getting out there and being barefoot, I actually read an article about it because my wife refuses to buy my 2-year-old son anything that has soles in it, any padding or arch support like Nikes or sports shoes. He wears basically these leather bottom real soft shoes. And I read a bunch of articles about how barefoot running and the like. It's we're trying to improve on something that was shoe companies that is millions of years of evolution. So anyway, cool. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff going on in the world. probably to your betterment, not watching some of the stuff that's happening. But I usually don't watch the Olympics, but because they become a political issue for the politically aware, looking at what was happening, the opening ceremony, pretty wild stuff. Did you see the picture?
I saw the picture, yeah, and I guess they're saying the people think the Olympic opening ceremony looked like a big vagina, and
it absolutely did, and it had a big round global, not globe, but a globe-esque clitoris on it. This is an anatomically correct show, and it seemed to be that way with the opening ceremony. And I mean, there's just no way. There's no way that they didn't realize exactly what that was supposed to look like. But it's really a dumpster fire. The Olympics, the IOC. They had a documentary about the IOC that came out. It just showed the vast corruption and scandals, and the slavery and evil things that go into this pageantry, this show that was designed to kind of it was one of the machinations of the UN, trying to have this global competition to bring the world closer together. So there's a lot of interesting takeaways, but this one's a dumpster fire. They spent $4.2 billion, which sounds like a lot of money, but pales in comparison to what the Sochi Olympics that took the cake. It was $48 billion that Vladimir Putin and the Russian people paid for that. The London Olympics came in second, right around $19.2 billion. So 4-point-something billion, 4.2 I think it is nothing comparatively. So you got viruses in the water. Some of the athletes are being robbed. You have water that is just it's raw sewage. The rowing competition has been canceled. It just seems like, welcome to Rio. You're getting effed. And there's a big, huge vagina right here symbolizing this.
This is the epicenter where it's happening.
The people that are, of course, they had to come up with some crazy. I watched this thing about the banking, special banking loan that they got from, the usual suspects, the World Bank, blah blah blah, to fund this deal. So I've been watching a little bit the sporting events. Actually, there was a female #1 sharpshooter. They have sharpshooting. That was big on the Second Amendment wires, talking about this woman and how she shredded Obama, of course, politicizing, turning, this into the gun debate. But I thought that was kind of notable. So there's a lot of geopolitical takeaways from this. Of course, Russia having several of their teams banned because of state-sanctioned doping, alleged state-sanctioned doping has, pissed off Putin. But what a mess. What a mess.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame that it's gotten more geopolitical or political. I mean, I guess of course it always has been. Maybe that's what it really is. But this time around, I notice it more so. Like accusing Russia of doping. I mean, maybe they did, maybe they don't. I mean, to me, probably every country does. I don't know. I really don't know. But that's the thing. You can just make an allegation, and you can really smear an entire country. And I don't know. To me, it shows the incredible immaturity, really, of our world leaders, which is not necessarily something that gives me comfort. Where they kind of play like playground games at the Olympics. We'll just accuse Russia of doping, and then, well, they're kind of effed, aren't they? Like, how do they really counter that? Just the fact that that's been said, it hurts them. So, but who does it really hurt? I don't even know. Like, what does the Olympics even matter? I mean, one country makes some money, and then, like, big deal. And Rio totally blew it. Yeah, but
yeah,
I will say, I mean, it was a dump in the first place, right? So, like, big surprise. Why didn't you have it in a ballot country that has, like, infrastructure and things like that?
Oh, that is being not global thinking Craig, where if you bring it to the United States, we actually have the infrastructure. People can actually use the restroom. We actually have, grinders and water treatment plants to turn that into dillo dirt or whatever they do with it. There's infrastructure in certain places, but that they always go out there and build this infrastructure that just usually wastes away, turns into. I mean, they always go and push people out of their homes. They kill them if they don't. It's always the same MO. I don't care what, and that just really shows you the corruption, because the IOC, of course, knows this, goes into this, basically saying, well, yeah, we care about human rights, and, we don't want
sort of, yeah.
But, as you get rid of all those pesky farmers, mowing them down with tanks, no big deal. We're just going to turn around.
Oh. And then you wonder if the Olympics themselves, like where they're putting it in Rio, isn't this a great opportunity to do some, human clear cutting? I mean, this is like this is a great way to do some serious gentrification. Like where the Olympics was, well, now we don't have those damn farmers and things like that.
Now everybody's going to go home with Zika, so that's going to spread Zika globally.
Globally, yeah. And I think one thing I will say about the giant vagina, basically, I would say that could have been deliberate, and it could be a big, I don't know, some big like Illuminati laughing at you kind of thing. But I will say, still being myself, close to the corporate world. I mean, and I am. I mean, I work at a big corporation and things like that, and I've been doing that for too long. Worked for a good number of them. I will say, I will give them a slight benefit of the doubt in not being deliberate, because trust me, people are that dumb. Like the company I work at, if you had those jackasses do this, they would not notice it. I'm serious. Like anything done by a corporate committee or an organization. I mean, if you asked an organization to create a horse, it would look like a camel. I mean, it's just so, I don't know. I mean, I'm looking at that and it's just hilarious.
It's a big effing scam, Craig. It's a scam.
I love it, but I will say whoever was designing that, whatever the committee was, the corporations involved, the design firms, who knows? I would say people actually are that dense. Like you being intelligent, me being, well, hopefully a little bit intelligent.
Sorry.
I can, yeah. No, it's fine. Like for intelligent people, you go, oh my gosh, it looks like a vagina. But I will just say that there's a lot of people who wouldn't even see it. And I think, I don't know. I'm just making the comment that like corporate America and organizations and such actually are that dumb that they would not notice that it was like a hilarious looking vagina. Elegantly done, guys. Elegantly done, really.
I mean, yeah, the people being the human, literally the human pubic hair, really, that was the ganache on top of it. No doubt about it. So, politics as usual. Once again, Libertarian and Green Party candidates will be denied participation in the presidential debates. Jill Stein, according to the mainstream media, is an anti-vaxxer crank. She's to not be trusted, and she's not an alternative to Bernie. It's pretty funny. Bernie's kind of out of it. He's still talking, even though it's over, bro. It's over. Nobody's listening. Nobody cares what you have to say anymore. It's amazing how quickly you go from icon, where people are, tattooing you on their bodies, to your face, your imagery, your icon. You have an icon for yourself, to irrelevant, boom, like that. It's just amazing. I feel kind of bad for him in that regard. I definitely think that he was worried about becoming part of the Clinton body count. I think that there's something to be said there, which has expanded. But I was on just to rant and rave. I was on CNN Politics, and I saw this article, and I clicked on it. And the I in politics, one of them is blue, and one of them is red. And I was just thinking about this, saying, well, that's politics in this, this United States of America, a red team and a blue team, and that's it. And anybody else doesn't matter. They have to be vetted through these two machines, and it's just kind of frustrating because it's only a constraint of people's minds. It's this media narrative. It symbolizes what the two-party system has been able to do to so many Americans that could not waste their vote on somebody like Jill Stein or Gary Johnson, both of which I'm not huge fans of. One of them will be getting my vote just because the other two won't. But that's just that's what's frustrating, because I mean, you talk to people, even well-informed, politically aware people, and you're like, yeah, well, I'm just going to vote third party, and they're like, well, I mean, of course, I hate both of these people, but I have to vote for one of them, and it's just it makes me sad. It makes me sad.
I suffer with that one too, because, I mean, it's a tough one, because you know that it's going to be the Lib or the Republican who wins. I mean, and you think, well, which one is the least offending to me, and I'll vote for that person. And that tends to be what a lot of people do. I mean, I guess there are some people who are rather, I don't know, dim, who actually, believe in one of those two people. I guess whatever. But
I see the bumper stickers, and it confounds me. I'm just blown away. I'm like, do you really like that person, or you just don't know anything? And I'd be okay if somebody just doesn't know anything about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump and has a Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton sticker on their car. But can you really believe? Do you really believe in these people? Do you? I mean,
it's been reduced to sports, actually. To me, I see it like that. I mean, being here in Seattle, which is a sports town, we have two big stadiums down there, and we have the whoever they are, the two teams. I don't even pay attention enough to know the Seahawks and some other bunch of dudes. But
dudes in tights running around.
Dudes in tights, yeah. I mean, there's like a 12 on every business. So the 12 is like this great marketing to make you believe that you're the 12th man, the 12th member of the team. What a great way to manipulate dumbasses. Anyway, like they win, they lose, they make money. You watch. You ain't part of the team, sucker. And they don't care about you. And I just don't get it. But here in Seattle, people are in love. It's like a deity. And there's a 12 on everything, or it's not holy. It hasn't been christened, So it's interesting.
Funny enough that they actually had to pay Texas A&M for the 12th man logo thing. They pay rights to that.
Oh,
so
it was worth it, because it's making money. I'm telling you, it makes money.
I'm not going to bore you with the genesis of all of that, because it really doesn't matter. Although I am a football fan, so I mean, there's no shame in my game. I'm pretty. If you follow me on Twitter, you see all the people that I follow, and you'll figure out quite quickly if you look at my picture. But of course, all of these things that I think that you can definitely take some parallels between politics, pro sports, theater. I mean,
exactly.
it's definitely Hollywood for the ugly people out there.
Bernie. Yeah, I mean, a Bernie sticker is the same as a 12. Yeah, it's the same as a 12. It's the same as a sports team. And I think that people's mentality through a lot of deliberate programming has been, I'll say, like, reduced to that. So I don't think that people that I talk to daily around here in Seattle, I mean, very, very few people actually think past it being their favorite sports team. It's just really odd. So
I don't think so. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that a lot of people like myself, I like my football team a lot. I watch college football, and it's something that is just a very, very small part of what I'm about. Obviously, I have a lot of other interests, but I mean, there are those people. There are people that have no other interest, or seemingly have no other interest, and I think a lot of people, I see that a lot in the alternative media, the bashing of people that like any kind of sport, or whether it's pit bulls. I mean, there's a lot of things that are like taboo, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with being I mean, the word fan is short for fanatic. You're fanatical about it.
Well, I wish that people gave politics as much thought as they gave sports on the average.
They might. Don't dismiss the American public. We are smarter than we sometimes seem. All right, guys, more on the other side. It's Blacklisted Radio. All right, welcome back. It's Blacklisted Radio. Having fun. Doug Owen and Craig Simpson here talking about the distractions that are in the world that take us away from some of the. I think people believe that, that there'd be more activists, there'd be more people out there angry if it wasn't for these distractions. And I think that when you blame anything, whether it's you blame the cigarettes, you blame the alcohol, you blame the cannabis, you blame this or that for societal ills, we miss the point. And so I try not to demonize people for the things that they find entertaining, whether it's listening to opera, going to sporting events, because a lot of times it's not so much that it's a evil in and of itself. I mean, sure, with sports you have all of the the militarization that's taking form, and all of the Pentagon money that goes into it, and pledging allegiance, the patriotism, the mandatory nationalism that goes into it, and that's the distraction, and kind of doesn't do anything for me. But I think that when you look at the people that are vying for control of this country, and it's not just Hillary Clinton or Trump, it's the people that will be their advisors, the people that are going to represent the multinational corporations, the agendas, the political philosophy. Those things absolutely do matter. Those are absent from the equation. So when politically aware people turn on the TV, when they listen to a lot of talk radio, of course, it's absolutely frustrating because the conversation is so dim-witted. It's very dim-witted. Oh. And those people, that watch this and actually believe this is, viable, informative, those people, I don't care if they're sports fans or not, the people that watch it, the people that go to Ivy League colleges, they themselves believe that they're, really up to, with what's happening in the world. And I mean, I don't think anything could be farther from the truth. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Like anything, if you use distractions to kind of take you away from the reality of the world around you and some of the things that you could be doing to make it better, then yeah, you need to pull yourself back in. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that you have to, in my humble opinion, you have to try to do things and succeed in small ways, and those things will have shockwaves. They'll resonate. If you build a great business that supports local people, you're making a huge contribution, and you are creating a network of people that you can share ideas with. Those little things. I mean, regardless of all the crap that's happening in the world, you going out there and doing those little things, or starting a business, doing whatever it is out there, it has huge positive effects. And small things, like that, rather than just banging the drum and screaming at the machine that, of course, is designed to not work. That's why you're not going to hear from Hillary Clinton, and you're not going to, Jill Stein, you're not going to hear from Gary Johnson on your television. I do want to talk about Hillary Clinton. She said that she may have short-circuited the truth about her email scandal. I mean, she just contradicts herself. She just lies so casually and so well. It makes me wonder. You were talking about some of the brain-dead people that believe that they're politically aware. I just thought about this, and this came out this week, and the Trump campaign has already seized the opportunity to turn this into campaign slogans or videos. Here we go. Tell it to him, Hillary. Give it to him, you lizard. Oh, my phone. Oh, you can do it. Come on. It's really thinking about it. It wants to do it. It's going to do it right when I don't want it to do it. Oh, well. But she said basically that she was going to raise the taxes on the middle class inadvertently. She was probably tired. I give it to her. Probably didn't think about it. But the people cheer. There we go.
Rules for the middle class, and we are going to raise taxes on the middle class.
Raise those taxes, Hillary. I'll play it again. Let me turn it up.
That is so awesome.
Raise taxes on the middle class.
But listen to the people. They didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Give it to me. Give it to me, Hillary. All right. Quick break. More on the other side. It's Blacklisted Radio.
Scores. do? You know? Yeah.
That could be a bumper sticker. What would Bruce Lee do?
Bruce Lee do? Oh.
It transcends, I think, a lot more cultures, and people wouldn't immediately dismiss you. They're like, that is an interesting question.
I'm making that bumper sticker right now on Zazzle. I'm selling it before the show's over.
You should. You should. People would buy that. All right, it's Blacklisted Radio. You can join the crew, and we see some old friends in there like Dalicus at blacklistedradio.com. You can text the show, 512-222-3067. Let's just talk Zika. Last week we brought up the Zika virus, and it has taken stage again. If you haven't been in the Miami area, good. It's a place that you may not want to be. The Zika scare has paved the way for the FDA to clear a GMO mosquito trial in Florida. They are doing aerial spraying, chemtrailing Miami, a 10 square mile radius, ironically with chemicals that reduce fetal brain size. So yeah, I was looking at this. The chemical that they are spraying, and I'd be interested to know who the firm is, if anybody out there actually knows it. They're going to be spraying that stuff, Naled, N-A-L-E-D. The inert ingredients are in most pesticide applications, and Naled is no exception. Carolyn Cox, from Northwest Coalition for Alternatives to Pesticides, lists solvents on her website, Dibrom, that are listed in the inert ingredients. Naphthalene, which has been classified by the EPA as a possible human carcinogen because it caused lung tumors in mice. It also has caused headaches, relentlessness, lethargy, nausea, diarrhea, anemia, some of the other stuff in here. It's just a huge, long list of chronic effects from it. It was studied on dogs and rats, and it showed that Naled causes chronic nervous system damage, resulting in the mineralization of the spinal cord and decreased nervous system enzyme activity that led to partial paralysis. Ugh. So anyway, I guess there's like this hub of Zika in Miami. It's actually, I was listening to another podcast, and it's supposed to be in kind of a hipster community where there's lots of restaurants and young hipster types in there, the millennials.
Yes.
Not that that's funny, but it's just odd that has become, I guess, a covey for Zika. Apparently, if you buy into the scam, which most of you probably don't, especially the microcephaly. I mean, people have been getting Zika for a long time, and only recently have we seen the small heads on babies in this microcephaly aspect to it. But pretty crazy stuff. So when people out there, Craig, and you talk about chemtrails, that's a real quick way to end the conversation with people. They're like, "Oh my God, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist." You can say, "Well, look, they're spraying Naled over Miami. I mean, they have to have chemtrail planes, and the FDA has to have this, and they're going to be releasing these GMO mosquitoes. God only knows what the end result will be, because I'm not a scientist, but it would definitely concern me.
And there's no way to test it. Like working in technology, what I do with infrastructure and such, the one thing that everybody knows is that nothing is really tested until it's production, until it's put out there. You never really know what's going to happen. You can
right.
test, you can have if you're creating GMO mosquitoes, like, you have no idea. They may grow to be 6 feet long and carry away babies. I mean, there's no way to know the effect that's going to have on the environment until you see what happens. So that's just crazy. To me, it's like, I have to give that one a big just don't do it. Don't genetically modify mosquitoes. That's insane.
In a move that public health advocates are calling irresponsible and frightening, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration on Friday cleared the experimental release of genetically modified mosquitoes in Key Haven, Florida, pivoting off the recent news that there was an outbreak of mosquito-borne Zika virus that has infected over a dozen people in Miami's Wynwood neighborhood. The UK-based developers of genetically modified organisms reportedly also called on the FDA to grant the emergency authorization to release the insects inside of Miami. So these are the ones that Bill Gates has been working on, the genetically modified mosquito. They've been working with the Zika mosquito for a long time. Before it was, the Zika mosquito, it was being weaponized by the U.S. military. So you always wonder, what's the origin? What's the genesis of that? And quite frankly, at the same time, we're having it with the Olympics, which is supposedly the genesis of the Zika virus. I call shenanigans. I think there's a lot more to this, and I'm just glad I'm not Miami.
Zika is just too easy for me. I look at it like, so all you have to do is get the doctors, like here in Seattle or Washington State or any state, just to say, hey, we just found some Zika cases, and well, there you go. It's like you don't even know if they actually did. Like, how do you even know? I mean, like, I don't know that they found Zika. Maybe they just picked a couple, random people with a cold and just said, okay, now these people have Zika or something like that.
Well, we saw that with the bird flu. It was symptomatic, and that's how symptomatic diagnosis. Okay, you got running nose, you got fever, you got diarrhea, you're throwing up. Okay, you have Ebola or you have the bird flu. It's like, well, did you actually test those people? Like, did you test their blood? Did they actually have a live virus? And they're like, well, no, we couldn't do that because, blah, 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 And,
did you test them? Did you test them for Ebola? Well, he had the farts and a fever, so we figured, Ebola, and we were paid off to do that. We had to, or they'd kill us. So yeah.
Yeah, well, this week also we had the USDA sign off on half human, half chimera hybrids. So, they're going to be testing genetically modified people. The researchers in Quebec have a DNA-based Zika vaccine that they're testing on volunteers. Probably a bunch of prisoners, but actually this is happening in Quebec City, Miami, Philadelphia, that have been recruited as guinea pigs for this new vaccine, new technology. I mean, you're beta testing Windows 10 initial. That's the best thing I can tell people about the vaccination aspect to it.
Yeah,
so you're messing with science, and even I don't think that Bill Gates spends billions of dollars to release crappy, glitchy software to the public for free. I think that he wants to make money, and he'd like that stuff to work. So even the most well-intentioned Bill Gates can give you a Windows ME every once in a while. I'm not buying it. And of course, they have interesting number. 33 military personnel from a report have been testing positive for Zika, whatever that means. Hillary, we did mention her, and then we kind of drifted off into evil people and sports and whatnot. I wanted to mention this. The huge report, of course, underreported by the mainstream media. Hillary actually supplied cash, weapons, and tanks to Al-Qaeda to kill Gaddafi, and they shipped weapons for terror operations. They militarized a bunch of militias, many in the State Department, many on the outside, private sector, think tanks, and advisors said this is a bad idea, don't do it. And that's what's absent from the Benghazi equation. And this is somebody I hear all the time, what could Trump do? I mean, he could blow up the world. That's what Hillary Clinton and her friends, the neoconservatives, the Kagans, and Victoria Nuland have been doing in Ukraine, in Libya. Worked a little bit better in the Ukraine, I guess, comparatively. But overthrowing unfriendly, groups, and she's been doing a pretty piss poor job of it. And that's something that, it should be pretty huge. I mean, Hillary Clinton also, this big story came out about how she was one of the directors of the company Lafarge. Lafarge is this company. It's actually there's been several investigations that revealed that it paid taxes to terror groups to operate cement plants in places like Syria, in northern Africa. That they've even used ISIS oil for years. Really shady dealings. And yeah, she just got a paycheck. She just happens to be on the payroll of a company that directly works with ISIS and has probably, you're going to hear a lot more about Lafarge, but it's just one of these crazy things that kind of shows you how connected to evil the Clinton-Bush crime family really is. I mean, you know, the Bin Ladens were doing business with the Bushes. And you have, like, Genie Oil Company. Dick Cheney's done business with every evil company that broke up Iraq and has been making money off of that. Hillary Clinton is no different. Another part of the crime syndicate, taking on tens of thousands of dollars. She did legal work for this country. Or this company back in the 1990s. She also worked back in the 80s, blah, blah, blah. This is actually, go back and look at the BCCI banking scandal. You'll find some cross points between these companies and it doing business with them. But, you know, should be a pretty huge story, considering.
Well, the media in general right now loves Hillary, so everything gets ignored. It's funny. It's if you listen to it, well, I'm sure you do, like the MSM. I mean, basically, all it is Trump's a bad guy. He's failing in the polls. You know, he's so awful. He's just, oh my gosh, he said this and that. While you've got this, I mean, international gangster, war criminal, dirty person. They just cannot praise Hillary enough. It's amazing. But yeah, Clinton's former employer Lafarge faces allegations of funding ISIS. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, this week there was a Florida man who admitted to disguising foreign cash for the Obama campaign. Of course, he's off to the golf course for the 300th time, and he doesn't have time for a lot. He's on his way out. But anyway, I think it's interesting. Media absolutely silent about a Florida man who pled guilty to helping funnel $80,000 in illegal foreign campaign contributions to a joint fundraising committee for Barack Obama's re-election campaign in 2012. William Argeros, 57, also admitted Monday in federal court in Newark, New Jersey, that he lied to a grand jury in 2015. Argeros said he facilitated the transfer to Bilal Shehu, a New Jersey resident who gave it to the committee. Pretty shady stuff. And I guess, you know, when you look at somebody like Barack Obama, he raked in $1 billion for his 2012 campaign at the time, the most money ever. I mean, there's got to be a couple shady, foreigners that are somehow getting their money into those coffers. I mean, $80,000 is probably a drip in the bucket.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's nothing, but how many other shady dealings happened? If it was only 10%, I mean, that's at least $1 million worth of pretty shady cash. But the Democrats, I'm telling you, they are brazen about their corruption, and they just continue to tell people that they love the planet, they love minorities, they love the gays, and people buy that crap. I can't give you any better political analysis on that. They just keep saying it. They just keep saying it repetitively.
Oh gosh. Yeah, if they would just throw in and we also love cluster bombs, and we love stuff like that. Yeah, we love the military-industrial complex, and we love making up reasons to invade countries, just like George W. Bush did.
To protect the gays and the women and the children and.
Yeah, we have to bomb. Middle Eastern countries to protect the gays here, because if you have to. It's if you don't like,
they promote Sharia law, and they're trying to. I mean, this is one of the quagmires, is that you have globalization and this interconnection with bringing in migrants and immigrants, but these people that you're bringing in hate the gays. They hate the Jews. Probably rightfully so, at least in their opinions. They hate most other. I mean, they're just not really up on letting women drive and considering them to be equals. I mean, you're just going to have problems with that kind of integration with Western values, especially the politically correct, silly world that they're trying to convince millennials is the way it should be, which is just I'm sorry you don't get a cookie. We have our niece over here, and she told me something that I thought was pretty profound. I'm sitting here prepping before the show, and she says, Uncle Doug, she goes, I could be having more fun over at Aunt Jessica's or at my house than being here right now. Like basically that, and I just looked at her and I said, I'm not here to entertain you, okay? That is not my job on planet Earth. I'll feed you, and I'll provide shelter for you, but I'm not here to entertain you, child. It's only rude to say stuff like that to me because I don't care either. You think you're bored? You think the audacity that you think that I think it matters if you're bored? I mean, come on. So, but she doesn't get that kind of real talk very often, I'm sure. So, Uncle Doug always has something that's something profound to say about that. I don't know why you're whining at me. I don't know why you think I care about how you feel. My goodness, you're gonna find that's the real world. People don't care about your entertainment. I don't.
Nirvana made a song about that, So yeah.
Well, the Clinton body count has expanded. I think we have another one here. Activist and former Sanders supporter who served papers to the DNC on a fraud case found dead. Last week we talked about Sean Lucas. Interesting. It's definitely taken on a lot of attention. There's a lot of trending on this story. People are wondering about this. But anyway, Sean Lucas and filmmaker Ricardo Vaiba served the DNC Services Corporation and chairperson at the time, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, at the DNC's headquarters in Washington, D.C., in a fraud action suit. This is actually a new one. It's not the one that we talked about last week. Sean Lucas was thrilled about sending the papers, and they're basically going to sue the Democrats because they rigged the election for Hillary Clinton, gave her preferential treatment, on and on, right? And so they said, well, we want our money back. Okay, we donated it to somebody we thought could win, and you guys basically stole that money. And anyway, he found himself on the other side of a bullet, ironically. All right, quick break. Back on the other side. Final segment. More from Doug Owen and Craig Simpson right here on Blacklisted Radio. Blacklisted Radio. So anyway, even Snopes is on the trace, or on the case for this one. And, Sean Lucas, just a weird deal. Died in his bathroom. We were talking about it during the break. Don't know really what happened to him. You also have a prominent AFP, which is American Free Press, if you're not familiar. Clinton researcher that was found dead on his birthday. A self-inflicted gunshot wound. Just a coincidence? Or it's just bad business and bad blood. People die around Hillary Clinton. People get depressed. People are really sad. Vince Foster comes to mind when I think about Hillary Clinton, and there was a lot of mainstream coverage of the Vince Foster suicide, and whether or not he was suicided by the Clinton machine. And I think people will wonder about these cases. I will continue to wonder, and if you just Google the Clinton body count, you'll find a plethora of interesting people that went against the Clintons that were private. We talked just this month. I don't know if we talked about it, Craig, but there was a UN General Ambassador who was just about to testify about Hillary Clinton in a court case, and he was working out at his hotel, and he crushed his neck with a barbell. It happens. It happens. I mean, the day of, it just seems so strange. So strange. Man, there's a lot of stuff we didn't get to, but we're going to go ahead and really work hard to bring some new guests, some new interesting content to the to the show. Talk briefly about your new website dedicated to your new project, anyway.
Oh yeah. So there's in search. What do I call it anyway? In search of So oh crap. What was it called?
Can't plug it if you don't know the website.
I know. Well, there ain't Nathan there yet, but it's called In Search of Wild America.
In Search of Wild America. That's where I want to be.
In searchofwildamerica.com. And so what we're doing is we're traveling around and we're sticking video cameras in people's faces and such, and we're finding wild Americans who kind of still have that American spirit. So some of that's taking place in Sedona, some will be happening here in Washington, and depending on how successful the project is will depend on how many places we go. So pretty much it's just finding those crazy eclectic characters. Like one place we want to go to is up in like on Napa, like wine country in California, because like you go up there, like Central Coast California wine country, you find like some of the most amazing, just wild humans who still have such a great American spirit growing wine in like the middle of the most like, empire controlled state there is. But there's still life to it. So it's pretty much just finding people who still have that wild American spirit, and they're everywhere. You even find them in places like San Francisco, so
they're not all sissified and wussified.
There, some of them still got a little bit of spark.
You need to find Clint Eastwood. He was talking about the pussification of Americans today. It's pretty funny. Guys, that's our time. If you want to support the show, go to blacklistedRadio.com. Please continue to support us. Let other people know about the broadcast if you find it entertaining or informative. I'll be back next week with Craig Simpson right here on Blacklisted Radio. Until then, take care.
Stay wild.
That's right.